Hello Tarot Rebels and welcome to today's video. I am Akela from Tarot Rebel and I'm super happy to see you joining us. As I mentioned before, I started this new series called Spooktoberfest 2021 because it's finally October, it's Halloween season, and I'm thinking what to do to make this month more fun and not creepy at all. So I decided to film this series, where I will present you some of my decks in my collection, and if it's fun, we're gonna repeat it next year. So the rules are simple. Each week I'll go through my collection and present you some random creepy decks, spooky decks, perfect for Halloween season. But first of all, I feel the need to preface this. My version and definition of creepy and spooky might not fit to other people's definition of spooky and creepy. So this doesn't mean my point is not valid, this doesn't mean other people's opinion is not valid, it just means we have divergent opinions from each other, which is perfectly fine. So this week the theme I decided it's going to be fantasy and creepy decks. This is obviously a complex and complicated theme where we will go through three of my fantastical decks, let's call them that. And without further ado, I will start with Tarot of the Cat People. So my copy, as you can see, is pretty worn out. It's the 1985 edition. As you can see, it's a US Games deck. The creator is Karen, and I'm gonna say it wrong probably, but it's Karen Kuykendall. I hope I said it right. I got it a couple of years ago off of eBay. I think it was less than £10, so it was a steal. If you try to purchase this deck now, it's probably ranging, I think, between 30 and £100, something like that. I've seen it at enormous prices. So it's a talk box, which was kind of the norm in 1985. I'm not really mad about it. It has this little white book, which is pretty detailed, I would say, for a little white book. Unfortunately, I do not have the guidebook Traveler's Report, I think it's called. This guidebook goes into detail with regards to what the tarot, the cat people do, where they live, what the kingdoms are, because it's a very specific deck. It goes into detail and splits the arcana and the majors and the minors into different kingdoms, each of them suited to conform to that kind of to the Rider-Waite system. So I know it feels very weird if you look at the art. It's very quirky, very fun, very bizarre at the end of the day, very unusual. Like you can see the cards. They kind of don't resemble any of the current artwork. It's the deck is the fantasy type story, and the story that accompanies the deck, in which each suit represents a kingdom and its people in some sort of parallel dimension called, I think it's the outer region. This is where the cat people live, obviously. A race of humans that love and honor cats. Each of the kingdom, as I said, gets its name through a combination of meanings. I don't know why I had the Eight of Swords reversed, but okay. The major arcana is the Diamond Kingdom, and the people are called Sky People, and the swords are the Ruby Kingdom. See, they have lots of gems on them. The Pentacles have sapphires, so this is the Sapphire Kingdom. The cups have topaz, which I'm not really good at my gems, but let's say it looks like that. This is the Emperor, very lush, very detailed card, as you can see. The King of Cups again with his sapphires, and I think the Topaz Kingdom is the this one. I get so confused. This is the swords, and it's the rubies again. And I'm looking for the wands. Okay, found the wands. It's the Emerald Kingdom. Okay, so as you can see, the art is kind of very detailed, and it's inspired by gems, which again makes sense. Look at the pentacles, very lush. Look at this High Priest again, it's amazing. And there's a cat in each of the cards, at least one cat. As you can see in this page of Pentacles, we have 3 cats, very detailed ones, and some cats in the background. Despite this fantastical world that's being built here with these cats, the author has kind of stuck to the Rider-Waite system, so you kind of don't need that massive book, the Traveler's Edition. You can genuinely, you can rely on this, although I haven't used it because being a RWS kind of deck, I feel like any book on the system is going to make the same impact. So it's quite easy to read in my opinion. I don't think it's a very difficult deck to read. I just like the artwork. I find it very interesting, very quirky. As I said, it's pretty bizarre, and you don't see this kind of art. And I remember when I first heard about this deck, I was thinking, well, wow, Tarot of the Cat People, is it humans on cat bodies, or is it cat heads on human bodies? But as you can see, it's neither. It's people with cats. Sometimes they do kind of have a certain feline quality to them, but not necessarily, right? And I think there are 2 title changes in the major arcanas. I think I saw earlier the High Priest instead of High Priestess, instead of the Hierophant, sorry. And I think the other one is the Judgment, if I remember correctly, which is called Rejuvenation. Look at this Temperance card. It's so gorgeous. I love it. The 7 of Wands is so lush. I kind of like the luxury that this deck encompasses in a very strange way. And I think this is a part of the appeal. I don't necessarily read it only on Halloween or only in this time of year. I like this devil, so menacing, and it kind of reminds me of that temptation energy that's associated with the devil. So yes, look at this High Priest, sorry, this Queen of Pentacles. I was looking at the other card. Look at this Queen of Pentacles. I just love it. This is the Justice. By the way, this is a system where Justice and the Strength card are reversed. The Strength card is number 11 and the Justice card is number 8. I don't know where that, I think I missed the Judgment card. But anyway, this is the deck. The backs are reversible. Being a US Games deck, this is fairly easy to shuffle, fairly easy to maneuver. It has a certain type of gloss, but it's not necessarily something annoying in pictures or videos. I think I've used it in videos before. I do like using it on myself or my friends because, again, of this quirky element that it has. These are the backs, as I said, very completely reversible, easy to shuffle, easy to handle. It grips very well. You don't have any issues shuffling it in any kind of way. So yeah, this is my Tarot of the Cat People. Next up we have the Fantastical Tarot by Natalie Hertz. Again, a US game system deck. This has got to be one of my all-time favorite decks. As I said, it was created by Natalie Hertz, the creator of the Vampire Tarot deck, and I think for me this was love at first sight. As you can see, the box is very elegantly gilded in a very shiny type of bronzy gold. It's a tuck box, obviously not the best quality. It's not necessarily a vintage deck. Why did I say dock? And as you can see, this book is quite messy at this moment. It says 1999 copyright, but I'm not sure if it's actually made in 1999. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's a standard little white book with some extra cards. I think I have the Sun and the Judgment as extra cards, but I'll just keep them there for now. I got this deck, it was brand new, it was still sealed, so everything you see is everything I got. The details are absolutely amazing. As you can see, the borders are this bronzy gold thing, and they're quite shiny, but I cannot explain how buttery the feeling of the deck is. Like the cards feel a bit buttery in a way, in a very strange way, obviously. I find this color palette interesting and quite luxurious in a way, because this bronzy color, and then couple it with the blue dragon on the back. I think it's quite unique in its approach, and it feels very lush in a way. Like, look at this Sun card. It's so vibrant. Look at this Ten of Wands. It feels, what's the word I'm looking for? It feels stagnant, overpowered, and tired, which are some of the feelings I associate with the card. Look at this Devil. This is such an intricate design of the card, and I find it like very evil and very determined to be evil, right? Again, this is a Rider-Waite based kind of system, and it fully adheres to the original system. Like, you can see the Pentacles, the Cups, the Wands, Temperance, again the Cups. This King of Pentacles reminds me of characters from Castlevania for some reason. I'm not sure if you watch this, but yeah. I don't know. It's just, once you get used to the art of the deck, you kind of grown to love it in a very distinct way. Like, this is where things go very different from what you might imagine from using this type of deck. Like, the images, the figures are so gaunt, so shallow, so with blank eye sockets, right? With bodies, very grotesque bodies, similar to a caricature of a human, placed in backgrounds and decorum that makes little to no sense, honestly. Like, look at this Two of Wands. This is a very different Two of Wands, right? Like, it's something else, because it kind of feels like they're waiting for something, and they got stuck, frozen in time because of the way the figures look. Look at this Tower card. It doesn't feel like something's happening, but you know something will happen, and you're so certain of this. And it's just that moment before the drop fills the glass, and it's the expectancy of it all, the urgency of it all. I think it conveys it's conveyed by this deck in a very specific manner, because I don't know, it feels like, look at this King of Swords. All the kings are very menacing in this deck. It's kind of mesmerizing and enticing in a way that instills fear and admiration at the same time. It's certainly, this is one gripe I have with this deck. The Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands, I feel like they should be reversed, at least the hair color, but that's just me. It's certainly a very intense deck, I would say. Not for the faint of heart. If you don't really enjoy this kind of designs, obviously I wouldn't suggest to use it. Look at this fool. Look at this fool. Looks more like a clown, like an harlequin than a fool. And I think that's where it originated, the notion of the fool. But also it feels so grotesque, so scary, so menacing in the way it's presented. Look at this magician. It looks like they're on something. So yeah, I do like reading with this deck for me, for my own benefit, not for others, obviously. I think it pushes me beyond my limit to use this deck. This is one gorgeous Four of Wands. It's not certainly it's not one of the decks that I would like to use on other people. I'm not brave enough to use it in readings for others, mainly because I don't want to make anyone afraid or susceptible to any of the images. But I do use it on myself. Look at this Justice card. It's like the plague of carrying the justice on your shoulders. I think it's very well described in this card. And then we have the Strength card, which is amazing. The color palette is so gorgeous with those pinks and blues and yellows. This is a deck that has a certain type of flavor, so if you're not ready to meet with it, enjoy it, think about it, meditate about it, I don't think this deck is for you. At the same time, I honestly wanted it because of the shock value, and I was honestly surprised to see how well it works, especially for me, for my own personal for my own readings. It's unexpectedly good. Look at this High Priestess. It kind of looks like that alien head, and I'll get back to that soon. But everything feels... This is one of my favorite cards in this deck, the Moon. Yeah, this is one deck I really enjoy using. The shuffling experience, the size of it, it's fairly portable if you're inclined to read with it. It's not something I want to do because I don't want to expose the deck to any potential accidents outside of the house. As you can see, my shuffling today is insanely bad, so let's just do this. You can see how easy it is to shuffle the deck. The backings are gorgeous. The cards themselves are amazing. It's such a quiet feeling when you shuffle it, because it doesn't make a certain noise that I'm so used to whenever I'm shuffling, so it's something I really appreciate. But yeah, I guess that's it for the Fantastical Tarot. Okay, and last but not least, the H.R. Geiger Tarot by Akron. I will start with one word, and if you're not comfortable with nudity and body parts, this deck is extremely mature. So I got this as a fan. As you can see, the deck is quite beaten up at this point. I got it secondhand. I couldn't find a decent copy, but I'm happy with it because I don't necessarily use it. And also one thing to note, this is a majors only deck. It's not a full deck, so it only has 22 cards. It has this massive guidebook. Apparently it does have some really good tarot spreads if you really if you're into that, and some mythology attached to it. again, if you're interested in that. This is where the cards sit, in this cutout box. And the cards, as you can see, pretty thin, but they're massive, right? This is the backing. It's not reversible, but again, this is not a full deck, and it doesn't have the suits. So even if you want to shuffle this, it's quite easy because it's a thin deck. This is a very specific deck created by Geiger, the person, the artist behind the alien design. So if you're a fan of his, which I am, you might be interested in purchasing this deck. I think I've seen it for £200 or £250, the most expensive deck I've seen online, probably in a better condition than what I have, but still, I find it quite expensive, right? I do admit I got it for the sentimental value. I don't read with it because, not because I mind the images. The images are the part of the reason I got the deck. It's just I don't read majors only, and the fact that it's so big and it's designed by Geiger, for me it's more of a collectible than anything else. I think this is the hugest deck I have in my collection. Maybe the one that gets close to this is the Gorgon Tarot, but that's a round deck, so I'm not sure if it actually compares to this one. Anyway, both decks are huge. I will have to check. As I said, the art is based on Geiger's art, which existed prior to the deck. Let me check and see when this was created. Do they say? I think I've seen somewhere it's 1993, but obviously I cannot find it now. So annoying when you don't have information. Okay, so this edition is printed in 2000, and the original one is in 1992 with Urania AG, a Switzerland-based company that prints out tarot decks, and I will have to say they do amazing work when it comes to quality. This was printed in China, so I cannot speak for the other deck, but yeah, the artwork is based on his designs, and as you can see, it's more of a black and white, silver colored artwork. I don't necessarily use this deck outside its shock value effect, because I sometimes scare my friends with it. I sometimes say, hey guys, do you like Alien? And they're like, yeah, sure, we do. And then I show them this deck and they're mesmerized and horrified at the same time, because some of the designs are not necessarily friendly. Like, I'm gonna flip through them just so that you can see. I don't know how the deck behaves in readings, because as I said, I don't use it. This Emperor is kind of creepy. You have to admit that. I think this is one of the cards that actually made me think of this topic of fantasy and creepy decks, because it's somewhat fantastical, right? I do enjoy looking at the images and trying to find details I've never seen before. Like, I remember when it was the day when I saw this woman's face here, I felt like a breakthrough happened. Obviously, as I said, some of the decks are quite body part heavy. I do study this deck with this specific goal in mind, to find new details I haven't noticed before, because I think it's a good way to train yourself and to be more open, especially with a deck like this, which only has 22 cards. It's fairly easy to immerse yourself in the art and look for answers there. It's creepy, fantastic, in a very tantalizing way, as you can see, and the lines are so clear. Like, if you look at the details here and at the bottom here, the details with the silver edging, I think it further intensifies the clinical aspect of the cards, if that makes sense. The minutia of every design, I think it's a very good way of transporting the reader into different worlds, different realities, different realms, call it whatever you want. At the same time, they do feel cold and distant, while opening doors, they do. This is interesting, like this card was renamed Hanged Woman. So I don't know, it feels like you get the opportunity to choose which reality you want to adopt, right? It's quite intriguing to look at the world like this. This is the card Alchemy, which is Temperance, usually. I know it sounds rather poetic to think of a tarot deck as a way to, as a door to help you immerse into different worlds, and it's not necessarily tarot inclined. I don't feel the need to use this tool in a tarot way. If I ever get comfortable using this deck as a reader, probably I will use it. I think for shadow work, I think this will work perfectly if you're inclined to do shadow work. I kind of stopped lately because I feel like I need a break. I need to take in all the work I've done and see where I sit with it, and see what I can do from now on. But I think this could be excellent at unearthing all the deepest fears, all the desires, the evils, the wrongdoings, but also help you meditate, help me meditate, and reach a healthy, possibly a healthy conclusion. The only thing I need to stress right now is that now is not that time. So yeah, I will not shuffle these cards because they're quite difficult to shuffle, and I also like to have them in order because this is how I approach them. I look at them until I just flip through them until I find one that speaks to me. So I might just meditate again on the Emperor because this one always draws me in for some reason. Is it the uniform? Is it the figure behind it? Is it the gun? Is it the lack of hands and arms? I really don't know. It's just, this is one of the most grotesque and inspirational decks I've ever seen. Okay, so now with everything out of the way, I do hope you enjoyed my ramble. I do hope you found it interesting, the second edition of the Spooktoberfest. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. In the meantime, if you can show support by liking, sharing this video, or commenting even, subscribing if you want, that would mean a lot to me. And I would really hope to see you in another video, and thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.